Welcome to our deep dive. Today we're tackling something really key if you're in tech. Getting ready for those QA and SDET interviews. It's a field that's really shifted, hasn't it? The skills needed now seem, well, broader.
Absolutely. And we've been digging into this great conversation between two engineers, real veterans in the field. They shared a lot about preparing for these roles today. They really hammered home how the SDET role, software development engineer and test, has evolved. It needs that QA mindset plus some serious dev skills now.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that. So our goal here is to pull out the core things, the really actionable stuff from what they said. If you're prepping for an interview like this, what did they say you just have to nail?
Well, they kind of boiled it down to 5 main pillars. Think of it as like your essential SDET foundation for today's market. You've got programming skills, expertise with automation tools, API testing know-how, database knowledge, and then familiarity with CI/CD and DevOps ideas. And of course, soft skills layered over everything.
And programming was a big one, you said. Java specifically, almost like a must-have.
That's right. A really key takeaway from their chat was interviewers aren't just looking for syntax. They want to see if you actually get the fundamentals. Data types, control flows, object-oriented concepts, OOPs like inheritance, polymorphism, collections, exception handling. And it's not just theory. You need to be able to solve logic problems on the spot. Simple stuff maybe, like reversing a string, finding duplicates in a list, that kind of thing.
An interesting point they made, newer Java features, like from Java 8, streams, lambdas, those are coming up more.
Yeah, especially when discussing automation frameworks, which, leads right into the second pillar, automation, usually Selenium. But it's way beyond just finding elements now. They stressed really understanding different weights, how to handle dynamic elements, actions, frames, multiple windows.
And framework design itself, that seemed crucial in their conversation. Like, can you build something solid?
Exactly. Page object model, POM, that's kind of expected. But you also need to talk about utilities, managing data, logging, reporting, running tests with Maven, parallel execution.
Right. And a key thing they hit on was explaining the why, wasn't it? Why did you pick this pattern or that tool?
Totally. And showing actual code helps massively. Like maybe point to a GitHub project where you've actually done this stuff. It speaks for itself.
Okay, moving on. APIs. Seems like you can't get away from those now in testing.
No way. It's central. And it's more than just using Postman, though that's, a starting point. The conversation highlighted knowing HTTP methods, get, post, delete, understanding status codes, validating JSON, different auth types. But for automating this, learning something like Rest Assured is pretty vital. Creating POJOs, handling serialization, data-driven tests for APIs. You need the core RESTer principles down.
And databases. They mentioned SQL often gets overlooked.
Yeah, seems like it. But checking data persistence, consistency between the front end and back end, that's fundamental testing. So you absolutely need comfort with SQL queries.
Yeah.
Basic selects, joins, group by, having. They even mentioned a testing stored procedure sometimes. And connecting via JDBC from your Java code. That came up as a common thing too.
Got it. And the last technical bit was CI/CD and DevOps basics.
Right. You don't need to be a DevOps guru, but you need to understand the flow. Git for version control, Maven for builds, Jenkins for automation pipelines, maybe basic Docker concepts. The big thing is integrating your tests into that pipeline so they run automatically. That's a core expectation now.
Okay, so beyond the tech stack, they also touched on test design, right? And Agile.
Yep. Solid test design techniques like boundary value analysis, equivalence partitioning, showing you've worked in agile setups, and using real examples. Talking about challenges like flaky tests or finding tricky bugs, that shows experience.
And we can't forget soft skills, handling those behavioral questions.
Definitely. Using STAR method situation, task, action, result is often good. Talking about collaboration, handling pressure.
So it sounds like a typical interview might cover coding, automation, APIs, SQL, maybe some system design, then behavioral stuff.
That's the flow they described. And common mistakes. Skipping one of these pillars, not explaining the why, or not asking questions when you're stuck on a problem.
So for you listening, getting ready for these, what's the bottom line?
It really means being comprehensive. Build solid skills across all these areas, practice coding, build or showcase a good automation project, and really understand the concepts, not just surface-level tool stuff. Oh, and mock interviews, definitely practice explaining your thinking out loud.
It sounds like a lot when listed out, but breaking it down like those engineers did makes it feel more achievable.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe connecting this to the bigger picture. Here's a final thought for you to chew on after this deep dive. Remember, an interview isn't just about them checking you out. It's also your chance to check them out. Is this company, this team, this role really the right fit for you? It works both ways.
That's a really valuable perspective to carry into it. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.